Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to try to explain meta events and world bosses. For this particular video I'll be showcasing the Shadow Behemoth, a world boss summoned by a meta event in Queensdale, which is the human starting area. A meta event is basically a series of dynamic events that all lead up to a large confrontation, such as between the Seraph and Centaurs, or in this case, the Seraph and the Shadow Behemoth, which is a gigantic monster from the Underworld. This meta event starts with portals to the Underworld opening in a few areas around the swamp in the lower right of Queensdale. Once these portals open up, the players on the map have a certain amount of time to close them in order to progress the meta event to the next stage. In this case, the next stage is more portals, which actually spawn in the center of the swamp, and once these portals are closed, the Shadow Behemoth himself actually shows up, and the boss fight begins in earnest. So what you can see here basically is we just closed the portals in one section, and so I'm heading to another area where the portals are still open, and I'm going to help out the one or two other players that are working on closing them, and then that will move the meta event to the next stage. So now that those portals are closed, the next stage of the meta event has started. So there are portals now open in the middle of the swamp, so I'm gliding down to try and get involved in that before the behemoth himself actually spawns. So you can see as I approach the gateway through which the behemoth is going to show up, that purple mist kind of in the or behind these portals here. So once this last portal is closed, and should only take a second, the behemoth himself shows up. Now this boss fight will seem a little chaotic, but there's a few specific things going on. Basically, the behemoth is only vulnerable for a certain amount of time while he's yelling at the players like this. Once he's done yelling, all these portals appear, and the players have to close all the portals before the behemoth becomes vulnerable again. The longer it takes for the portals to close, the more stuff the behemoth will start doing. He can do a lot of damage in some pretty large areas, so it can start to get pretty difficult to dodge his attacks if it does take a while for those portals to get closed. Luckily, this group seems to know what they're doing, so I'll kind of just fast forward through most of the fight, since that is pretty much all the mechanics you'll see. Now, like I said, this meta event slash world boss is in Queensdale, which is the starting area for humans. So low-level players can actually get involved in this event. Meta events, though, do take quite a bit to cycle through. So, for example, once the Shadow Behemoth goes down, it'll be another 2 hours before the meta event starts up again, with the portals appearing outside of the swamp. Meta events, though, will provide a lot of really good rewards, and some of them actually, including the Shadow Behemoth, are requirements for legendary items that become available at level 80. So, for example, I'm actually tracking one of the achievements now for the legendary greatsword. So killing the Shadow Behemoth will put me just a little bit closer to getting that. Still pretty far away, but one step closer at least. If you do have the Heart of Thorns expansion, the meta events in the expansion zones are map-wide, and are fairly active even this late in the expansion's life cycle, basically. And especially in maps like Auric Basin, you end up with a lot of rewards. So following the meta events is both a good way to make money and just generally a positive outcome. So if you're in a map and a meta event is going on, it's usually gonna be a net gain, a positive, if you get involved, regardless of which stage it's in. And so that was the Shadow Behemoth. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.